Hello. Hi. How you guys doing today? Happy Monday. Happy International Women's Day. Just wanted to shout out all the women, all the ladies who are out there. Um, I just want to say personally, I love you. I appreciate you. And there's even more to come with how we connect, who we connect with, and the greatness that we are as women. So, yes, I'm excited. And I'm super excited because of what we got going on for today's episode. Um, if you are new here, my name is Gabrielle Quinn, and I'm an interior designer and blogger focused on interior design, inspiration, information, and art. And today we are going to talk about Ebony magazine, or Ebony and Jet magazine. Now you guys know, growing up in a Black home, Ebony was the magazine. Nowadays, Essence is the biggest one, but Ebony was first, and Ebony was groundbreaking, and everybody had Ebony and Jet and all of the above. So, they've been going through some stuff in the last few years, and they have recently been bought and have new ownership and a new CEO. And what we're going to look at and review today is their plan for the future. They did a fully live conversation last week talking about what their plans were and what they wanted to do. So I'm a little excited. Ebony is nostalgia, and they've been around since the 70s, I want to say. Pretty sure it's the 70s, and they just have their own history that we can't forget. So in understanding that and knowing that, it's like I couldn't miss this opportunity. I had to make sure that what we talked about with them, or what they talked about, is something that I shared, even though it's not technically a typical thing that I like to share as far as my reviews and all that kind of stuff. This was one I did not want to miss. This only happens once. So we're going to talk about it. So first things first, I'm going to pull up boom, 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 boom. The video, the live video that they released for the rebirth of the magazine. You like that? That was my weird, random musical. It never gets old for me. Maybe it does for you. No idea. But I thoroughly enjoy myself and all of the little random ditties and songs that I can come up with. So here we go. Here's what I got. Here's what I want you guys to see. This conversation, I've watched it before this, but I didn't watch it for all the review stuff and to get into detail. I watched it because, one, I wanted to give them views. Two, I'm down for what they're trying to do. And three, I wanted to see, what kind of energy they were going to bring to this whole situation. So what you see in front of you now is like the startup screen that they had. Now, I'm going to say this. When it comes to the Black community and how we discuss things in the Black community, it's often looked at as a situation where we as Black people will be overly critical of our own things, but won't use the same criticism in the midst of other publications, other services, other goods, other things that were created by white people or any other cultural group or racial group. So I'm very mindful of that as I'm looking at this. But one of the very first things I saw, and it made me laugh, was the fact that this thing did not start on time. If you can see this, I am sitting at 15 minutes and 20 seconds in before they even get started of this hour and 26 minutes of a situation. So, yeah. It's just like, if you're going to do it, start on time. That's just me. I'm not the Black person who likes to run off CP time. I like to be on time. So, you know, maybe 5 minutes of, a discrepancy, but that 15 minutes that's you cutting into my other time to do other things. I'm just saying. So there's that. But we haven't gotten started. So what you see here is what's going on. So here we have in the middle Kenny Burns. Kenny Burns is the host, and you'll see him in all of his interesting glory as this interview progresses. He first brings on the new owner of Ebony Magazine, which is Eden Bridgman. She has multiple businesses that she owns on her own and with her family, and they decided to, buy out Ebony, which was not having great success and had some crazy stuff going on in the press. And they almost died as a magazine. The magazine was almost gone. And so getting her buying this out was really a huge step in trying to create essentially a rebirth, as they named it, of Ebony Magazine, which was a leader in Black culture, Black lifestyle, Black information. So that's what you see here. She's the owner. That's her here. CEO is Michelle G. I think is how you pronounce it. I think that's how they said it on the thing, on the interview, is G, not G. She is the CEO. She's been in many corporate circles, but the two of them got to know each other. They tell their own story. I'm not going to tell it for them. And because of the relationship between the two, they, Eaton decided to bring Michelle on, and she is now the CEO. And from what I've seen, she's completely passionate about the entire project. So you're going to see that. And then they bring on, Kenny talks to Eden by herself, and then Kenny brings in Michelle and talks to Eaton and Michelle together. And then after they talk about that, they bring in the rest of the panelists, and they're here for a discussion. And who they have Kelly Price. We all know who Kelly Price is. We got Jason Carter, Reverend James Woodall, which was a funny ad for me. I think maybe they were going for somebody from a younger generation to kind of be involved in this. So his seat on the panel was interesting for me. And then Shanti Das, I think that's her name. Yeah, Shanti Das. She's on there. So we're going to see how this conversation unfolds. I'm going to give some of my commentary. I'm actually going to start playing because it goes on for a little while, and I don't know exactly when they start. But it's going to be, I think the conversation is very interesting and very telling. And I think it's a good way for us to get moving in the right direction. Here we go.
Host of the Rebirth of Ebony Magazine. I couldn't be more proud to do it here in my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. I want to send a special shout out to Chicago, though, where it all started. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, would you help me welcome the owner of Ebony and Jet Magazine, Eden Bridgman.
I know, I'm like, should I dance up here?
Interesting, right?
I know. We're bursting a lot around here today, aren't we?
She's Pringles too. Congratulations, Eden.
18 with my, the fourth? Yes, the third Bridgman? The fourth Bridgman? Yes. Okay, well, my third Bridgman brother, so.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because you, me, yes, so it's 4 of us.
There's 4 of us, yes.
Don't believe the other rumors. But I am extremely proud of you guys. You know, your family is synonymous with greatness.
Thank you.
They're going through, they're doing all the pleasantries now.
Taking a heritage brand like Ebony.
All that fun stuff.
What was the thought process besides it being one of our, classics?
I mean, well, we start with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents, my older siblings, myself, we grew up looking at Ebony and Jet.
On the coffee table.
Coffee table, barbershop, beauty salon, wherever, standing in line, you picked it up. You wanted to see who was on the cover, what were the articles, because you knew that was a reflection of what you looked like, your heritage.
It's very true.
For our family to have this, to be able to steward this with this amazing team that we're building, we are just humbled.
That was their adjustment to the audio, guys.
And it really is that legacy from what my parents were able to do with our family business, and to move into this new venture. I mean, it's just such an exciting time.
No, and I love it. And you're becoming a mother yourself.
Yes.
And growing up with it, and now seeing what the narrative should be in culture and how social media is coming into play. How exciting is it to take a 75-year-old property and make it new again?
I think it's so unique. I mean, most people are going to have to start out fresh. I mean, we have 75 years of our culture to be able to tap into, to remember and celebrate, but also to take those nuances from the Jet Beauty of the Week, because I know that has been the running question.
That's what everybody wants to know.
Everybody wants to know.
My pictures in, please.
Yes.
And be in the magazine. I want the layout.
Yeah, I remember that Jet Beauty of the Week.
With Ebony Fashion Fair.
That's a big thing, that Jet Beauty of the Week thing. I didn't pay too much attention to it as a kid. I wasn't as concerned about stuff like that. I was more focused on like the hair and the celebrities and the stories and all that kind of stuff. But the Beauty of the Week was a big deal for Jet. And for those of you who may not know, Ebony was a regular sized magazine, just like anything else. Just like, I'll just use this as an example. Say this was Ebony magazine, that was like the regular size. And then Jet was like a little smaller thing that came with it. Let's just say it was this size. So let's just say this was Ebony, and Ebony did the big stuff. And then Jet was like a smaller supplemental thing that came along that you could go through. It was interesting how they had it. And they didn't do all of the same things in both magazines, but the smaller of the two focused on like quick things that you could see, like music lists, like the top 30 songs on the charts and all that kind of stuff. And Ebony was focused on like the long stories. So they had a lot of things covered. It was almost like Jet was their digital magazine in today's time. So nowadays you have the regular magazine, the print version, and then you have the digital magazine that is updating on a regular basis. That's kind of what Jet was. So thought I'd throw that in there.
Everything that was represented, we're able to now bring that to the younger demographic.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial.
I can't believe you're 30 though.
I know.
That really, with all the businesses you run, that blows my mind. Honestly.
Well, also it doesn't.
Go ahead, feel yourself, honey. Feel yourself, honey. It's International Women's Day.
But
it wasn't when they did this, but it is today.
It's really
so
going to be so unique to have the legacy. But the modern, the creators that are out right now, they just had even half of what the archives are giving us to be able to reimagine and repurpose for today. But also we know that we're going to create the new Ebony. And I think from what you're seeing coming out today, to the way the logo is being positioned, to the artwork, we want people to know that this is a new day. We are rebirthing this brand.
And I feel this cover, if everyone can see behind this.
So they're going to show the cover.
Says, Black women will say the word,
cover.
But we will include you all.
The cover was from the beginning.
It doesn't just seem singular. It seems like the birth, like literally, I am bringing something back to life.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another thing was, I don't know where they shot this, and because of how it's set up, I am feeling like they're shooting this at a church. Because of the way that it's set up and because of the positioning of the camera, they don't have a lot of movement or flexibility in view and audio and video, and how they're looking at this. And that's typical for a Black church. And I know that historically, when we have events, the Black church is one main resource or one main venue that we would use for something such as this, like a panel discussion or anything like that. So it makes me think that. So that because of that, they can't move around and do all that stuff, which leaves it a little bit lacking because their only real ability is to zoom in and zoom out. But like what he was saying, to zoom out, you have to look at the whole audio, like the whole backdrop, to see what that is, and you can't see it from here. Now, granted, it was at the beginning, but it's on the computer. Who's going to go looking for that and finding that, so to reference it and not be able to see it here in some kind of shape or form, or even have them have gone back in the live and popped it in there? That was a missed opportunity. Especially considering they want to get new and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they still have to get on their feet. So it's not anything that I see as a super negative thing. It's just something to notice in how they're setting the stage for what they want to do in the future.
Starting March 1st, it's Women's History Month.
Yes.
We had to obviously, lift up the Black women. I'm a Black woman, our amazing CEO, Michelle, another strong Black woman. We wanted that imagery, but Ebony was for everyone. It was for men, but also we want to make sure we're uplifting the family unit.
Come on.
That Black family that can, remember sitting and reading through the magazine and just kind of that being a moment for the family to gather.
Yeah, and I feel that's an underserved movement.
Absolutely.
I feel like things are dedicated to specific genres and markets, but I feel the need of something for families.
There has been a loss of family in the publication
your
realm.
Parents can enjoy and engage in together.
Absolutely. Will we have things for women? Yes. Will we have things for men? Absolutely. But we also want that unit, because we know if a strong unit is put out there, we as Black people can accomplish anything and everything. So that's what Ebony, this rebirth, is meant to signal.
I love it. And I want to shout out Ulysses, Junior Bridgman. You're a genius. You got these genius kids.
He's a
and
character.
Honestly, I wanted to shout him out because I think
he's a little extra for me, but
in which you all
he works for them, so I'm not going to complain
the
about it.
fact that you and Justin and your brother are taking on the world in these roles, redefining them and making them your own. I think that's a testament to your mother and father.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what my parents and I have to say, as a woman, a shout out to my mom, the one who was behind the scenes, who didn't really, gravitate to the spotlight, but made sure, again, that family unit, so that it allowed my father to be able to go off and do what he needed to do in the business world, and she held it down. So that's where that family unit is so critical. But absolutely, I mean, what the values that they were able to instill. And I think that plays into why you see the B being, represented so boldly. Bridgman, it was not at all intentional,
But it still plays.
But it works. But the idea of Ebony being bold and brilliant and beloved, those are values that, my parents instilled, and that we want to make sure that this community,
I hope they talk more about
that you are bold, you are brilliant and beloved, and we want to hear your stories. We want to celebrate it the way that it should be.
Yes, I love the ode to your mother. Black women will save the planet.
Yes, we will.
We're in ATL. The epicenter of culture today. It's been leading music the last, I argue with New Yorkers all the time.
He's talking about Atlanta, if you missed it.
Almost throw it out there. Chris Cross sold 4 million records in 1992. I'm just going to leave it there.
We're not worried about
the end all be all, but
Atlanta versus New York. We're not even going to make that
now a blue state.
In the last 30 years.
We saw that played out for the
5.
world in 2020 with that presidential election. Absolutely. Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
Woo! Sorry.
I understand. I'm sure. Yes, it was hard work. I'm sure beyond.
This is where it takes a little bit of an off-topic
So
thing.
why ATL? I feel like you're gonna.
I mean, you were teeing it up. You were going through all of the points that make having this brand launch here in ATL. I mean, there are, Atlanta is such a hub for so much for the creators that are here, for the idea that it's a city that you can mix with people instead of, well, over here it's this and you're not allowed to come here. I mean, since being here this weekend, that's the fun of ATL.
Right.
And the idea that our family, we've had businesses here.
Yes.
So the idea of having another entity in
I get
the
that.
Atlanta DMA in Georgia fits along with what we were already doing. And we're just so excited to bring Ebony and Jet here in a way, again, that is new and fresh, but also not taking away from the heritage of Chicago.
Absolutely.
I moved to Chicago. I fell in love in Chicago, and my husband is Chicagoan. So
Greg, happy birthday, homie. We love you, dog.
Lord.
So we will
One of
absolutely
their
still
homies.
tap into that, but we know that being here in Atlanta signals the future of making sure that we are amongst the people who are moving this culture, moving this community
Yes.
forward in a way that we have to be immersed in and experience that with them.
Absolutely.
So I feel two ways about that. I have mixed feelings about it moving to Atlanta. The obvious is what she pointed out. It's that, Atlanta is the Black Mecca right now. Everything that's happening as far as Black is concerned is happening in Atlanta. Atlanta is probably the safest space for Black people because of how celebrities and Black business people and people of Black culture and heritage have just integrated themselves into what is going on in the city of Atlanta and the surrounding counties. So on that side of it, it makes perfect sense because it's like, yes, this is Atlanta. This is where everything is. This is where the testament to be free and be able to do and be able to work and flow and all that kind of stuff. This is where it's most convenient. This is where it works. And this is where people are. And let's connect with the people that we're serving. So on that end of it, I 100% get it. But on the other end, taking it from Chicago, which in and of itself carries a strong Black presence, which in and of itself has its very own identity. And because of all that goes on in a city like Chicago, where that is like almost a base for some of the best things to happen in culture, and also the most newsworthy things to happen in politics, and what's going on today, does a disservice to Chicago, and also takes away from being in the middle of not only the good, but also the bad. And that is a part of telling our story. And don't get me wrong, not everything about us should be based in the negative, but I always see it as being closer to the thing that, makes you fight, being closer to the varying opinions and the varying things that can happen, as opposed to being completely insulated by all the things that are positive about what we have to do and what we're dealing with. But again, that's me seeing it from both sides, because the same argument could be made for both things. That's why you're doing it in Atlanta, because there are specific Black culture issues that you want to focus on, and not necessarily just focus on the diversity piece, but also the Black culture scenarios that you can focus on are the same scenarios that you would get in Chicago. So I'm kind of torn between that because I get it. I get both sides of it. But there's more that I want to see. There's more that I want them to talk about, and I want them to say more. And maybe because she's the owner and not the CEO, there's some things that she's not going to say, and the CEO will say. So I'll hold off on that, but let's just keep going.
And I see a whole renaissance coming. I feel like in the next 5 years, Ebony Magazine and Ebony Media, will have a certain stamp, on culture. As far as leading conversations, narrating conversations, what do you see in 5 years for Ebony?
I see it just being Ebony. Then fill in what you want after. Ebony Media, e-commerce, moving into industries, into properties that the brand itself can stand up alone. I mean, this is an icon. Right. We have so much richness behind it that it can move in ways that we've never seen before. And that's actually been the most exciting. The phone calls we have received.
Crazy.
I mean, it is, you name it, they want the Ebony name on it. From wine to credit card. I mean, you
name it,
literally name it. And that's honestly what we see. We see the Ebony and Jet brand being a funnel into the culture.
Yes.
And it being able to bring to the culture what it means in order to lift itself up. So not only do we want to celebrate Black culture, but we want to lift Black lives.
I love it.
So we know from healthcare and everything that we've seen with COVID and the disparities, how does Ebony play into that? Not just as a media platform, but being able to be even more of a resource. And so for me, that's where I sit. That's where the excitement comes, not just from again, the media and the idea of the digital magazine, but the industries that we can take this brand into.
And the heritage is there.
Absolutely.
The legacy is there.
Yep.
Interesting. I still want to hear more. Let's see. Let's wait and see.
We have to have many different tentacles.
Yes.
And branches on our tree. And I just love to hear you even set it up where it's going to be bigger than just media, because I don't think, companies are one thing anymore. I don't think companies are here to just do one thing. I think, Ebony having its heritage and its foot firmly planted in Black culture and protecting
it makes
Black
me question
culture and honoring any celebrity
it makes me question, not that there's anything wrong with this, but how and in what lanes do you start the expansion, and what does that look like? Is it outside of like the publication media? Is it going into creators and TV and YouTube? Is it going into lifestyle and digging deeper in that, having fashion brands, or having just some other things? Is it going to education? Like, how does it expand, and what does that look like? And that's probably something we're going to have to wait to see, because that's an interesting concept for Ebony to just be Ebony, and to have it be whatever that person needs. And that's very broad. So while it sounds really amazing, how do we take that and make that something that's significant for all the different interests and values and all that kind of stuff that we as Black people, uphold, that we possess every day? It's so varied. So that's an interesting statement. And I think that's something that we'll have to wait and see how that plays out in the next 5 years. It's very interesting.
I heard came through this magazine. Any athlete of success or meaning came through this. And so to take that legacy and that heritage, to merge it with the future, you had to have the right people involved.
Absolutely.
You have to have the right stewards.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what has been the amazing thing. Starting out announcing, Michelle G as our CEO. I mean, she is
Hotel 357.
she is the embodiment that we wanted to make sure people knew that this is the leader that is going to be there to listen, not only to lead, but to truly listen and create the team necessary to give the community, not just, we'll say, the culture, but the true community what it needs and what it has invested so much into with these brands
That's
previously.
good.
I mean, people
Focusing
have
on the community.
boxes full of Ebony and Jets in their basement that they were so excited to tell us, and we want that same love to be shown to this team that is being built. But truly, as I can say, as a businesswoman, the idea that, you know, Ebony having to stay in one lane is absolutely against what our family business is set up. You see that we are in different properties, and because you have to be diverse, and our community is diverse.
It is.
We're not all one, and so we want to make sure that these brands are positioned and give to the people the diverse, you know, voices and properties that we so desperately need and absolutely deserve.
Yes, and it's such a microwave media, you know, circus at times. And I feel the responsibility that Ebony had in the 75 years of its existence will play a part in what you guys do going forward. It feels really good. But I want to meet your CEO.
Yes.
You guys want to meet the CEO?
She's on her way up. She's a ball of energy. And I love it.
G. Woo-hoo! Put on it too short.
Michelle G.
Later too short.
She's cute too.
Beautiful. Social distancing. We both had tests.
Yes. Scoot over.
Okay, y'all can't talk about social
put this
distancing
here.
after y'all touched each other. Like, come on
It's good
now.
to be an
This is
ATL,
how you know they're in
especially with
Atlanta.
you.
Thanks. This is
And boss lady.
Hey, no, you're the boss. I'm just the president of the Michelle G.
Oh,
Club.
here we go.
well, listen, good company is hard to find.
It is.
And you seem to be in great company in the pairing. Even
Right.
watching you guys, you know, last couple of days interact is dope. So I want to salute you both on that.
And you know, neither one of us blow smoke, so it's real.
No, but that's the key. And I find
She real
you know,
black,
people
y'all.
can enjoy
She is
this together.
unapologetically black. And I'm not mad at her.
You know,
At all.
friends
She
set
probably
you
had the code
appropriate,
switch a lot.
You know, said that you don't
From
play.
Oakland.
Yeah, from the
You
town.
already gave it. You know, I had to say the town one more
I
time.
just wanted to say, because, you know, I know a lot of, after even going to dinner with you, I was like, you know, because she would, 'cause I was like, I know she don't play.
From the town.
Okay. But listen,
Yes.
why Ebony? Why now?
You know, we came down here. We're with our families. I'm with my husband, Tony, Taylor, Jordan.
Tay, what's up, boo?
You know what? I can't take it. And Angel, her
Unbelievable.
brother, you know, he calls himself the intern, and her husband.
Justice.
And I know, right? And that's what Ebony is about. It's about family, and it's about celebrating that. And it's about standing strong and understanding it's not one or the other, but us coming together to really uplift this community. And what better brand? When Eden and I were talking about this, we were like, man, Ebony is like that. You know, it was like that we were dreaming, and we would look at pictures because we know the meaning of it.
Yeah.
We know where it came from. We knew that there was not a place for you to see yourself anywhere. And
That's
still
true.
today, there really aren't enough places to see yourself authentically
That's
and
true.
telling your own story. So it's an honor. It's an honor to take what John Johnson has done, and then Linda and that family. It's an honor to sit here in this position.
I say the same thing all the time. It's a blessing to be able to see yourself, and because of the profession that I'm in, it's I personally made it a mission to see people to find designers who look like me, so that I had somebody to look at. And thank goodness for some of those names like Joy Moeller and Sheila Bridges, and people of that caliber, just coming through with all of their understanding, their talents, their experience, and really putting that on the table for us to really see. I think it's amazing. And so from a design standpoint, I will always look at things like this from a design standpoint, because I know for a fact that the Black community doesn't fully grasp or understand or even accept the profession and the concept of an interior designer. So often so that we're often mistaken for decorators, which are still interior professionals, but are different from us. And so even as a decorator, whether you call me a designer or a decorator, still not being able to understand and interpret how important that is, how important a professional of space is, and the value behind that. That's something that I'm always going to look for in these kinds of situations. Is there going to be space and opportunity for a lane like that for us? Because we need it. We need somebody to talk about it, and we need somebody to talk about it regularly, not just mention it and not just say top 5 tips to bring plants into your home, or here's how, here's 25 black home decor companies, like stuff like that. That only holds up for, a month. And it doesn't dig into all the things that are designed in a way that connects with us. And I think watching this, I am looking for an opportunity where that might be something that could be addressed, and that might be something that could be changed. So that's how I see it.
True.
Well, I love leadership that actually revels in family. We know Eden and her family and their legacy in business. And then to even meet your family, like you said, you brought them here. We had dinner last night. 2 amazing kids. I'm going to dunk on your son. Nephew, I'm just playing. I know you probably, but I love the family,
It's so real,
and
though.
that, to me, is what Ebony has always been.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. From the Johnson family to the Bridgman family to the to the Burns family. Your wife, Jessica, she showed up last night.
Yeah.
You didn't bring your son, though. But anyway, he was out playing
They don't
PS5.
want to hang.
I know.
They don't want to hang.
Sorry.
PS9.
You're not cool no more.
I'm not.
We actually making you cool tonight.
You're making me cool. Not my outfit.
The outfit.
Lord have mercy. I'm not a fan of those pants, but he like them. I love them.
Black culture, from the Panther Party to just the beautiful people that have come out of that,
Kamala.
No,
I mean,
our Vice President of the United States.
Yeah,
What does it mean coming from a rich place and heritage like Oakland?
Well, I would just want to take one moment to tell this story. So at 12 years old, my dad had me working in his restaurant. And at the time, I didn't realize the significance of that. And what I would watch him do is greet people and know their name and know if they were hurting or needed something new, their favorite thing on the menu. Mom, fix so-and-so just walked in. And what it showed me is that he paid attention to detail.
Yes.
I write everything down.
But it also showed me that he had empathy and that he understood servitude. And when Eden and I spoke, she said, we're servant leaders. And that is how we roll. And I was like, I'm a servant leader too. Sometimes to the detriment of ourselves, right? But we know that is what is really, really important. And so this brand has the same sentiment. And when we were building our value propositions, it's built on service, serving this community, telling the truth, holding things and people accountable, holding each other accountable, holding our journalists accountable. And we're going to, like I said in my love letter, we're going to interrogate everything because we want to make sure that the truth is seen, not only for those that everyone knows, but for the unknown also.
And that's great journalism.
It is. It's just great journalism.
They deserve the truth, and they deserve to be able to depend on some.
They're looking to tell everybody's story.
Or a company being unwavering in that.
Yeah.
I find beauty in it. How did you guys link up? Like,
oh man, that's a different time, right?
No, that's YMCB. Was it you? Who put y'all together?
Man, it's such a great story. And Eden,
I think this is, we say, the divine order of this entire piece. From
do I let this run? I might as well let it run.
Idea of
we're not going to get through this whole thing today.
To even know that the opportunity of this was out there, and then we knew that we had to have someone immersed in the business to understand what does it mean to monetize impressions and everything in between. But we also knew we needed that human figure who could understand what the community was demanding as far as the human nature of Ebony and Jet.
Right.
So it truly was, and this is, again, what a great story for March 1st of Women's History Month, the power of the Black Women's Network. It took one text between myself, another acquaintance that we had, and Michelle and I, to be placed together. I sent her a message, and after and was just like, hey, would love to get on your calendar to talk about, the possibility of some legacy brands.
Right.
She responded because I know I might have said, I don't know who this person is.
Because I'm gonna tell my side of the story next, okay?
Yeah. And then we set it up. We had one conversation after that, and I think we have been. I talked to her more than anyone. My husband, my mom, my dad. I mean, we are lockstep.
That's good though that they're so close.
Because you're pregnant.
But it's good that they're that connected, because what Eden is able to kind of overall and broadly say she wants to get out of it, Michelle, from what I'm seeing here in their dynamic, Michelle is able to give voice and specifics to answer those and to really find solutions for that. And if they're in a situation where they can be in community with themselves and be super strong and supportive and helpful and just openly communicating, then the opportunities for growth and expansion just, that percentage just goes up and up and up, because there is full understanding and connection with the heads. And when you have that, magic happens. Like, it's just magic. So I really appreciate the relationship here. I really appreciate how they both respect and love on each other, and how intense that is. Even in this one little story, how can you deny that some greatness is here and that some greatness is available to you when it's sitting right in front of you? They are 100% on board for the future of this publication and beyond. And, like I was thinking, Michelle is able to voice a little bit more in detail where their line is as far as how they're going to go about it. And that service piece is really important. Too often companies do things and they talk about service, but they don't really have a servant's heart. And being a servant leader is really tough. It's really tough, because in being a servant leader, as Michelle alluded to, you get hit in the midst of the work. In being a servant leader, there is some detriment that can happen to you personally, because what you're seeking to do is all about the service. And so that is what servitude is. It's not always sunshines and rainbows. It's also taking the heat. So I find that really important and interesting.
You're back.
Hey, what you want? What you want for dinner, right?
Now he can just call our work wife. And
yes, exactly.
Know what's going on.
Right.
But truly, it was the power of a Black women's network that linked us together, and the rest is history.
Like, give me your side.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say that a friend of mine called. I'm gonna say her name is Deidre Tate, and Tawana and Deidre are good friends. And I like to give people credit where credit is due, right? Because we don't do that often enough.
Y'all did that.
Yeah, they did that. And so she's like, they want to talk. And you get calls. It's like, okay, you just won the lottery. It's like, let me check my numbers again. So when Eden texts, I had to Google her because I didn't even know, because their family does so much, but they really kind of fly under the radar. Why do you say that?
Because it's so crazy. It is, because listen, let me tell you something. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, the Trifecta Gala is one of the most prestigious events that went down at the Derby. It is. No, it preceded itself, but it even preceded your last name.
Yes.
No, it did.
Right, so, because I was like, then I Googled, I was like, I responded quickly. I said, Tony, I think like this, we have an opportunity. And so I texted him back. I was like, oh yeah, I took a picture. It was July 19th.
I'm not mad at her for her family flying under the radar either.
Right now, because it's part of our history and
Some
legacy.
people could do this, fly under the radar.
It's like you go to the Trifecta Gala, you see, how do you rent out the KFC center and put couches everywhere, and then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm going. I haven't been, but I can't wait until I experience.
Child, it is a thing, but I love the way that they do that, and I love the way even you guys linking how she knows what type of A-type personality she needs in this position.
Yeah.
You're truly that. And I want to ask you a question. How will the culture of Ebony and Jet be different than working at any other company? Because we know you were highly touted, child. You had everybody and their mom talking about Michelle G is on our, top tier list for, these CEO positions that were opening up. But you took the
Well, yes and no. Because still, if you look at corporate America, there aren't enough African Americans. I'm not going to even say women, right? If you look at the NASDAQ, 14
That's
companies
true.
that are Black-owned companies. So we still have so much work to do. And although I had achieved a lot and had earned a lot and had asked for it, because I say that in all the things I've written, it was still, there were still barriers.
Right.
And so I will say that I get to go to work every day, although it's in my office. I walk from my bedroom to my office.
From the house.
From the house, right? But I don't have to check my culture at the door. I can come to work
That's
fully.
real.
And that is a way.
That's real. That's freedom.
But the point of that
There's
is when you
freedom
can
in
come
that.
to work fully, you can actually really create something great because I don't have to leave anything on the table. And listen, we're not going to always agree with our coworkers and everything we do, but we all come together knowing that we have an opportunity to really leave a legacy behind for the next generation. And so that to us is important. And you have to come to work fully in order to do that.
And you don't have to check your culture at the door.
Yo, I had to do it too many times. They had a big coat rack for Michelle.
I said it,
Just check
didn't
it
I?
right there, sis.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I think that, can play into this next question. Ebony had a hiccup or two a couple years back. How do you plan on making the culture, the employment culture, your staff culture feel good?
They're talking about that.
Productive.
Well, the first thing I want to say, listen, everyone has hiccups.
Yeah.
And, someone asked us earlier about, it came out of
wasn't really a
bankruptcy
little
and this and
hiccup.
that.
It
How
was a
did it
big
make you
hiccup.
feel to see a brand almost not? And we're like, first of all, people are human and the business was human. And so let's talk about that first. And we wish everyone well, whatever their journey is, whatever God has destined for them, that is their journey. This happens to be part of our journey. And what I would say is that, we have an opportunity to bring in folks to this company that also had to check their culture at the door. And now they are free people to create amazing stuff, and we're looking for them. And so listen, we're looking for them. Editorial, we've hired some great people. We're looking for people that are going to be social media folks. We're looking for projects. So we're going to have an opportunity to actually bring folks. But more importantly, Kenny, I have to say this. A lot of times we demand a seat at the table. We're going to encourage people to build their own table. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to give people the tools through our infrastructure to do that, because it's not good enough just to give people money and loans. We got to show them how to do it. And so you're going to see some things from this duo right here and the amazing people that we work with.
And
to
your
give them
intern.
those. And the intern, where the intern at? Justin didn't wear
And
his
the intern,
hoodie
dog.
today. Yo, Justin, we see you. And Ryan, and look, I call Mr. B. Look at Mama Dora, like the entire
Big
unit.
black
Right?
energy, and I love it.
Look, all.
No, I love
And
it.
I got two employees, right? They just not old enough to really come to work, but trust me, they will be.
They're invaluable.
Yo, period.
One thing, and again, it's about your spirit of being a mother and leader in your household too, because I think our children are in the teens, and
Absolutely.
their information is invaluable.
Can I tell you?
Please.
But mine make me pay them for because Taylor will snatch my phone and be like, look, you didn't respond to this. You got to respond to this. Look, this is that. DM. I was like, oh my gosh, please help me. Because I don't know how to do
I
it.
saw his shoes last night. What he got on today? Oh, okay. He got some off-white Air Max. She got on some Dior. Oh, Dior. I see.
Oh, this
Kenny,
is
stay here.
Take me like this.
No, Kenny, just stay here. Kenny, just stay here. Focus right here. Okay?
No, this is
It's the culture, though. It's the culture. Think about, we talked about this, right, E?
Yep.
During the inauguration, what was one of the biggest stories? The sneakers
The sneakers on the nephew had on coming down the step.
Correct. This is the culture. And that's what Jet's going to be. We're not going to forget about Jet because that guy's coming. But not yet. Give us a minute. Let us breathe through this.
Jet is going to be for the youth.
Yes, it is.
But I love that, though. And I think that
Interesting.
because we do listen to our
That is
kids,
interesting to
because
see
we
what they're going to do with
understand
Jet.
the necessity in their needs. Don't let that go over your head. But we tend to look for things to not only just comfort them, but to teach them, like you said, to put process and blueprints around them to help them be successful. But George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the pandemic as a whole, it brought us into a whole new world of thinking.
Yeah.
Not only thinking, obviously, we've even talked about it earlier. We saw Georgia turn blue, first time it's ever happened. You know what I mean? And then you see the way that we are, noticing mean, this is not like this is new to us, the George Floyd situation with Breonna Taylor. But we
Uh-huh.
are not playing anymore. As a people, we are holding people accountable. If you don't want to hold them accountable, we're going to vote them out. I think we understand the power of voting now.
Yeah.
How diligent is Ebony going to be surrounding those issues?
Well, I think we both probably have a response to this. I'll go if you don't want to jump in first. Yeah. So I'll say this, like, first of all, nobody should lose their life, period. And we do need to stand up as a people to say, like, this is not right. And we have to fight them in multiple ways. Yes, we have to march in the street. Yes, we have to understand what's going on with policies around us. So we have to be informed. A lot of times people, I'm voting for this. Okay, tell me what they stand for. So let's be informed. The second thing, it's not over. Just in Atlanta today.
Get them in office, there's still work to do. Yeah.
And in Atlanta today, they're trying to make sure that they put voting restrictions in place, and it just passed one house to make sure that we can't do it again. So listen, we have so much work to do. It's our responsibility to tell those stories, to dig in. We can tell, look, we're going to have multiple things. Lifestyle, we're going to have fun, travel, food. That's all part of culture.
It's part of life.
Right? It's part of culture. But we also have to pay attention to the other things.
Fun,
They don't
travel,
want us to.
food, current
They
events.
don't want us to.
We will not
I'm not
be
hearing
bamboozled
home.
or
No.
hoodwinked. We know Georgia, what
And
y'all
home
did
is
today.
big right now.
You can make it 2:30 to 3:30. We're going to stand in that line at 2:30 and we're going to get y'all asses out of office again. How do you feel about that?
No, I mean, how do you follow
Yeah,
the visionary? I mean, come on, what else do you need to add? But no, absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with what Michelle said. We, as Ebony, need to make sure that we not only give you information, but we give you tools to be able to use that information.
That's important.
Voting
So,
matters.
I'll be
Okay,
looking
you can
forward
say
to that.
but how do you vote in a way that your voice can be heard? And what is that after work that needs to happen? The conversations to follow these politicians and our leaders to make sure we are holding them accountable, that they are giving us what we have demanded and what we casted our vote onto them. So absolutely, and that's going to be such a beautiful and fun thing. And we know that is what Ebony and Jet were. And so to bring these back, to rebirth it, to make sure that those voices are being heard is such an amazing and wonderful thing. And again, I am just humbled to be able to be a part of this.
I love it. So, guys, what's first? What are we getting done first? What's happening first?
Oh, that's a good
I
question.
hope that you. Oh, okay. Don't be watching this and didn't go to ebony.com. That's the first. I'm looking at you in this camera. So that's the first thing, right? We had to shore up the digital asset because that is the narrative. So we have to show people that we're serious, that we have great content, and we have to start getting. Don't say you want Ebony and then don't support us.
That's right.
Like don't do that. So I need you to go. I need you to support. I need you to check in every day. I need you to sign up for our newsletter. Come on, people, let's go. Right? And so we need that to happen. And then once we have the base, then you build off verticals from that. And you're going to see some things that I believe are unexpected, that we have an opportunity. When the announcement went out, we were all surprised. We were surprised. I was surprised everyone picked it up. Just the fact that Mr. Bridgman and the Bridgman family had acquired the asset, right? So that was amazing. Then my announcement went out, more love. They saw Eden, and they're like, oh, right. Black Girl Magic all over the place, right? Because people coming like, the family's black, right? I was like, Google, like I had to do. Yes. So all of that. So now that that's shored up, you're going to see. And we're going to hold the marketplace accountable, because don't call us and don't say you want to do something for this community and then don't show up, because we're going to hold them accountable too. And that's my core skill set. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, we need more accountability.
Yeah.
We are destined to be great in any and everything if we have support from one another.
Absolutely.
Tech guy.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I was trying to get all the way up until they got to the panel, but, obviously we didn't get that far, but that's okay, because there's even more to come from the conversation. Here's what I'm going to say. I think that with the emergence of everything that's going on with Ebony, with the magazine, how they're trying to build themselves back up and create a new light. This is 100% Black Girl Magic. Let's just start there. Secondly, this is a huge opportunity to expand on who we are as a community. And like Michelle was saying, not just focus on the people that we know, but also the unnamed people too. And I feel like that's very important. I think too often we get so caught up in celebrity and what celebrity does and what celebrity means and what is all out there as far as like that pop culture situation. But what happens to everyday people? What are the everyday situations that we have to deal with, we have to work through and cope with on a regular basis? And so the idea of wanting to expand into all these things, I 100% I'm down. What I'm going to say is keep watching this interview. I linked the video in the description. Go ahead and click on that and look into that and just connect with the rest of the conversation. It's very good, it's important, and they touch on some additional things that I think might be of interest to you as it relates to what they should include, how they work on it, and ways in which they want to see, people want to see Ebony and Jet expand in the future. So go ahead, check that out. But before you go, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you like the video. All those great, good, and wonderful things. And that's what we're going to do today. You can always find me on Instagram at the Gabrielle Quinn. And you can hit up my website to see all the things that I'm working on and my blog at quinteriors.wordpress.com. All right. I am going to see all of you next time.